Welcome back to the Letterman here on 90.7 WCOH. It's a great Wednesday. It's 40 degrees out today, Cody.
Martell, it is absolutely beautiful out today. It's a great day. I just got back wrestling with one of our 133-pounders, working on some stuff for the upcoming postseason for Wilkes Wrestling, and walking outside in a T-shirt in February is just amazing, bro. It's awesome.
There's no better feeling.
There isn't.
We have a lot of stuff here for everybody today. Of course, right now we will be talking about UFC 271. At the 4 o'clock, top of the hour, we will be talking about the top 25 matchups of the week for college basketball. And in the 4:30 segment, we're going to talk about the new NFL coaching hires. But, of course, we can look forward to that soon. Right now, like I said, we are going to focus on UFC 271. And our first matchup that we're talking about, because we're not going to talk about the whole card, because,
I wish we had the time to. I could talk this all day.
Well, I think the three fights that we're talking about are the three fights that we could spend a long time on.
100%.
Yeah. Of course, we're starting with Jared, the Killer Gorilla, Cannonier, versus Derrick, the One, Brunson.
So before we even get into stats and previous fights, I just want to say this card is absolutely amazing because in the main card we have 1 versus 2, champion versus 1, and then we have number 3 versus number 4. We have 4 guys in the top 5 that are fighting on the same card. And in my personal opinion, I really think that whoever the winners are, fight for the belt next. And I think whoever the losers are in this fight to put themselves back in the equation for title contender.
100%. I mean, it's going to be a jam-packed card for the middleweight division this upcoming Saturday. But it's going with Jared Cannonier and Derrick Brunson. What do you like from both of these fighters?
So it's hard for me to really break this down because I'm such an Israel Adesanya fan. Derrick Brunson is an elite wrestler in this division, but he got whooped up against Israel Adesanya with the distance and the striking. He just got beat up on his feet. Couldn't find his attacks with the takedowns. Couldn't find any ground and pound in that fight. But he is a very elite wrestler. He's got very good cardio, right? He's able to take fights long distance, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, deep into the 5th round, and still have that punching power and punching speed that he had in the first round.
The thing, I know you just mentioned the Izzy fight. That happened way back in 2018.
Correct.
So, I mean, Brunson, he's had 5 fights since. He's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. 3 by decision, 1 by TKO, and then his most recent fight, UFC Fight Night in September of 2021.
He had that
submission rear naked choke.
Dude, So this is why I say I like Brunson, because when he gets on top, he is completely ruthless. And like I said, we don't have time to really look back at this fight, but this rear naked choke was vicious. On top, his right hand was on top of Darren Till's neck, or right on the back of his neck, and he just kept hitting him with these left hands. As soon as Darren Till's left hand came up and his chin came up just a little bit, you saw Brunson slip in right under the chin with his left hand, lock it up, and sit to his back, where it gives Darren Till absolutely no way to get to a side or any way to defend this choke. If you're on your back with a rear naked choke, it's pretty much finished. You know what I mean? I think the only other way that it's a guaranteed finish is if you get Darren Till to his stomach. But it was a great submission win for him, especially against one of the top competitors at middleweight in Darren Till. You know what I mean? You got a very good striker. The height behind Darren Till was right there, and Derrick Brunson kind of just shut everything down.
Yeah. I mean, looking more in depth, just for the stats here. Jared Cannonier's 5'11", of course, middleweight, so he's 185. Derrick Brunson 6'1", he's also 185. The reach advantage will go to Jared Cannonier with a 77.5-inch reach versus Derrick Brunson's 77-inch reach. And the leg reach will go to Derrick Brunson with a 43-inch reach versus Jared Cannonier's 41.5. So I just have to say, it's funny how you say Brunson is a wrestling specialist, because The majority of his wins come from TKOs.
which is weird, right?
Yeah.
It's really weird. If you you have the stats on the computer, can you scroll down and see what his takedown offense and defense is with grappling? So that's 3.5 takedowns per round. What's the second one and third one?
So takedown accuracy is 34%.
Okay.
So 1 out of every 3 takedown attempts, he's going to get it. Takedown defense, 94%. So
Can't beat that. He's almost defending every shot.
yeah.
And then is that ground control or what's that the bottom one?
Submission average,
Which is
0.5.
yeah. So he's getting a
So-
submission almost.
So yeah, the 3.15, that's per every 15 minutes, so per 3 rounds.
Okay.
So expect at least 1 takedown attempt per round
Basically.
from Brunson versus Jared Cannonier. I mean, he's 0.12 per 15. So
He's a big striker. You don't really see him get to the ground, and because I have the stats on my phone from the last 5 fights, Jared Cannonier fought Kevin Gastelum in his last fight, and with Kevin, Kevin is arguably probably the hardest fight that Israel Adesanya had, but again, that was years ago, and Izzy's gotten better, so has Kevin. But Kevin exposed Izzy with the takedowns, and not exposing his chin, but just showing that Izzy doesn't really have a chin when it gets later into the fights. You know what I mean? He gets rocked and he'll get stumbled, but he finds a way to reconnect with himself and control himself and not get all over the place with getting rocked by Kevin Gastelum. Kevin Gastelum is a very explosive fighter from his feet.
Kelvin.
I said Kevin.
You've been saying Kevin.
Sorry for the fans. I'm sorry. Kelvin with an L. But he's very explosive on his feet. You'll see a lot of kind of hop step straights from Gastelum, and then Jared Cannonier basically hit right side slip and kept dominating him this whole fight with this left hand. Like, I've never seen the accuracy from Cannonier ever in his career that he had in this last fight with Kelvin. Completely dominated from the feet. Kelvin tried getting a couple of takedowns. Jared Cannonier was very good with his defense. I know that his takedown defense rate is 64% or something like that. Or not 64%, that's significant strikes. 62%.
Yeah.
So he's roughly stopping every... you take 2 shots, he's stopping 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that this is a 3-round fight, and I think off rip we're going to see Brunson enforce takedowns. And whether he gets them or not, I think that he just wants to put Cannonier on his back foot so he can't stay forward and keep hitting him with those lefts and rights. I think that he's going to really put the pressure up on him against the cage and the clinch and try to enforce a takedown from there. Cannonier's best way of winning this fight is keeping distance and stay on your feet, be comfortable, find those angles with your shots, and pick Brunson apart.
Yeah, I think I was just about to say Cannonier's way to win this match is definitely stay off the ground. Brunson wants you on the ground, and you can't match up with Brunson on the ground, so why go there? So these two are going to have 2 completely different game plans. Who do you think comes out on top?
So, oh man, we're going predictions.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 on this fight. I really can't give a solid prediction because of their last 2 fights. You know what I mean? You got Brunson with I think that says a 3rd round submission against Darren Till. And we got Cannonier with a 5-round unanimous decision against Kelvin Gastelum. I really don't know how this fight's going to plan out. I do
want to point out Cannonier only had 1 fight in 2021.
Okay.
And 1 fight in 2020 versus Brunson, who had 2 in 2021 and 1 in 2020. It was late 2020.
Okay.
So was Cannonier's.
I don't think ring rust will be an issue with these two. I think that even though their last 5 fights, they haven't been active, but they're active in the gym. You know what I mean? I follow both guys on social media, and they're definitely active in the gym 24/7.
Yeah.
But it's my prediction with this fight. I'm not going to give a clear winner, but if Brunson can get that takedown in the 1st or 2nd round, I'm going to take him. If Cannonier can stop 1, 2, 3, 4 takedowns, I think Cannonier wins this fight.
I After looking through the stats and going through everything, watching a couple of the fights, I really like what Brunson does. I mean, Cannonier, don't get me wrong, superb striker, as we saw with the Gastelum fight. Like you said, his accuracy was outmatched, especially because I only watched like the last 3 fights, and you could see progressively through those last 3 fights, his accuracy, his movement got just a lot better.
He's starting to dial in with his fighting style,
Yeah.
which you see with a lot of these fighters. They might get 1 or 2 wins and then they'll string together 2, 3 losses. That doesn't mean that they're a bad fighter. You know what I mean? You see football teams, you see baseball teams, they win a couple and they'll string a couple of losses together. That does not mean that they're a bad team. It means that they're trying to figure out the right way to find their play style, their fighting style, their wrestling style. Once you dial into that, and we see a lot with these champions, that they're so dialed in that they're miles ahead of anybody else in the division. You know what I mean? Israel Adesanya is now making his 2nd lap around this division, which is absolutely insane with the competition level that you have here. Marvin Vettori, Paulo Costa, Bobby Knuckles. As a lot of people might not know what Bobby Knuckles is, but that's Robert Whitaker. I'm sorry. That's a kind of a nickname that we've come to over the years. Jared Cannonier, Derrick Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Sean Strickland. You got a whole bunch of talent, and Izzy has just separated himself. And I'm starting to believe that with Izzy dominating everybody, that the lack of competition and the lack of drive is there. I think that a lot of these guys are going to start catching up to Izzy.
Potentially. I mean, we'll see because, of course, Izzy will be the main event of this UFC 271. We will be talking about that Friday.
So excited for that.
But, of course, my prediction for this fight, as I was getting to it, yes, Cannonier has stepped up his level of play in the striking department. I don't think his wrestling is going to keep up with Brunson.
Yep.
And I'm going to go round 2 submission, Derrick Brunson.
Really, I like that. I do. I like that.
I think he just catches him off guard round 1, goes back to a round 2, and he gets, I don't know what submission is going to be, but he's going to catch him in something.
Yeah.
And like I said, Brunson's wrestling, and like you said, he's a top-tier wrestler in this division. I don't think Cannonier is going to be able to keep up with that.
And like I said, if he can get that first takedown in the first round, I really don't see any way Jared Cannonier can come back from that. It's his ground control. Go back to the stats real quick, just before we move on to the co-main. What is his ground time control? Does it say that? It doesn't?
Yeah, no, they don't have that time on here.
So, hold on. Let me look back at his couple of fights. So, his Kevin Holland fight, that's the one that I wanted to talk about. Kevin Holland was, and like I said, we all know Kevin Holland is the mouth of the UFC. He talks all. He pretty much said that he was going to knock out Brunson, and he said that his striking was levels ahead. Brunson pretty much said, I'm going to put you through a wrestling clinic, and I'm going to show you what real wrestling is. He got that first takedown in the first round. Kevin Holland escaped, and we saw Brunson come back with a couple of right hands, put Holland on the cage, and we saw a big takedown and ground control from start of round 2 until the end of round 3. We saw about, I'm going to take a guess, but it's probably about 7-8 minutes of control time on the ground. And Brunson is a very good wrestler. He knows how to control his hips. He knows that you need good wrist control and anything in your hands when you're on top. You know what I mean? You can't just sit on top and hold on to this guy. You have to control a wrist, control a leg, control him by his waist, and just start wailing on him on top.
Yeah, I mean, and I watched that fight too because I'm not a big Kevin Holland fan, but I like his,
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we all? We're all friends. We're all fans of Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland, he just talks. That's what you want in UFC. I mean, it's like we talked about Monday with the opposite of what Ngannou does.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland gives people what they want, and that's going to buy pay-per-views and
Correct.
buy, whatever you want to call it. And I was really hyped for that fight. Never heard of Brunson before that fight, and I saw that. I was like, okay, this Brunson guy's pretty good.
He's definitely the real deal. He's been in the UFC for a little bit, so I would technically call him a young vet. He's not that old, but he's definitely a veteran for the UFC compared to the other guys in this division. I'm really excited for this fight because there's 2 middleweight bouts in this card, and there's going to be a lot of pressure behind Brunson and Cannonier, and even with Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. Like, you got 4 guys all fighting for the same thing, which is that middleweight belt that Dana White's going to strap around your waist at the end of the fight. You know what I mean? That's the pinnacle of UFC, is getting that belt wrapped around your waist by Dana White.
And then getting that interview.
That post-fight interview, correct.
Moving on, though. Of course, keep in mind you are listening to 90.7 WCLH, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Hazleton area. As we talk about the co-main event of UFC 271, this is a heavyweight bout. Number 3, Derrick, the Black Beast Lewis.
Let's go.
Versus number 11, Taya Bam Bam Tayavasa.
Let's go. Mr. Shuey. Mr. freaking Shuey. I am so hyped for this fight, man. I cannot wait. This fight got announced like not too long ago.
In November.
At all. I think, definitely
December.
way sooner than that. I think it just happened like last month.
Did it?
I'm so serious.
It might have been ended of December.
Dude, Derrick Lewis fought Cyril Gane. Look, hold on. I'm sorry, fans. I can't control myself. I'm so hyped. When was his last fight?
His last fight was December 18th.
Exactly. So he went right into January thinking, all right, Dana, who's next?
He has his most 5 recent fights all came before February 8th, 2020. So 2 years ago to this date, or I guess 2 years ago and 1 day, he's had 5 fights. Am I looking at the right one? No, I am.
You are.
I'm confused. Okay, wait. I'm looking at like the main cards. I saw John Jones versus Reyes, and I'm like, who? What? That's not. I mean, his last 3 fights: Curtis Blades, Cyril Gane, Chris Daukaus.
Listen.
Those are some serious dudes right there.
Listen. Ready? Minus the Cyril Gane fight, Derrick Lewis is an absolute monster. I think that he has the second most.
I thought he has the most.
The most what?
Knockouts in heavyweight history.
He does have that, but I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
I think power for power, weight by weight, I think that he is the second most powerful person in the UFC roster behind Francis Ngannou. I'm so serious.
I would have loved to see a Derrick Lewis and Ngannou fight.
I think they did fight. I think Derrick Lewis won that fight. I'm pretty sure that happened a while ago.
Oh, yeah, no, that was back in January 18th.
18.
Unanimous decision.
Yeah, by Derrick Lewis. So here's my thing with Derrick Lewis, and I praise him so much for him being so honest. In his last interview with Brett Okamoto, he basically told him, if you're calling me for a main event and it's 5 rounds, you might as well just hang the phone up, because I don't want to fight 5 rounds. I want to fight 3 rounds, and I want to fight only 3 rounds. And Brett's next question was, well, why don't you want to fight for the main event? Why don't you want to fight for the belt? Because I have to work so hard to bring my cardio up to fight 5 rounds. Why would I do that when I can just fight 3 rounds and get out of there and go? And I think his excuse was, I don't want to fight in the main event because all these restaurants close before or close after 11 or before 11, whatever.
So he wants a main event out in Vegas or LA.
Yeah, right, where everything's all open and stuff.
I just want to point out his interview with the First We Feast. It was Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Loved it. Oh, my God.
Loved it.
By the way, I guess a little shout out to them, because what's his name? It's going to piss me off that I don't know his name, because I watch that religiously.
I know you do. Well, you came over my room and immediately started putting it on YouTube. I love it too, man. I do. I love it.
Ed Helms was on the other day. I don't know if you know Ed Helms.
I think I do.
Hangover.
Oh, okay.
He was in The Hangover. He was in The Office.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, great interview with him. Sean Evans. Sean Evans.
Yes, that's who it is.
Yeah. So little shout out to them, I guess.
It's And Derrick Lewis is the type of guy to, like, he doesn't really show emotion. Once he gets comfortable, he starts showing a little bit of emotion. But, like, I've never seen somebody eat about 6 or 7 wings that are probably the hottest on the planet and not have any reaction. And then just in a split second, all you see is beads of sweat come from his forehead, and he's grabbing the towel and grabbing milk. And he's like, man, are we almost done this? Are we almost done? Can I go get milk?
Going away from hot ones, though.
But he's a great fighter. He's probably the most honest human being in the I was about to say WWE in the UFC roster. He's a superstar, dude. On the other thing, this card is in his backyard. We're in Houston, Texas.
Oh yeah,
we're in Houston.
I'm sorry. Like we've been giving Derrick Lewis so much love. Like, not to take away from Takedown
Tuivasa.
Tuivasa. Yeah. I think I got that wrong when I introduced him. But Takedown Tuivasa, he's an amazing fighter in himself. I know he had the Greg Hardy fight about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
And I was pulling for Greg Hardy heavily. And then I just saw him just absolutely dominate him. I was like, okay, well, it was fun that an NFL player. Thanks for representing, Greg.
But it's in Tai Tuivasa, we kind of see the same fighting style with Derrick Lewis. Like, we got 2 big guys that just throw haymakers the whole time. I don't think there's going to be any feeling out process in this fight. I don't think that anybody is going to try to lay back. I think that these 2 fighters are going to come in and completely let it all out. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at each other.
I just want to point out, Derrick Lewis has an 81% TKO rating. Taya has a 93%. Derrick Lewis has 25 wins. Taya has 13. Taya has 16 fights versus Derrick Lewis's 34 fights.
It's a big difference.
Big difference, but it just shows how incredible he is as a knockout artist.
100%. What'd you say his rate was?
81%.
Exactly.
TKO. So, I don't think this fight's going to go 3 rounds.
No, not even close.
No way. No way.
No.
The question is, who do we think is going to get put on the ground first?
Exactly. Go ahead. Not to interrupt. Go ahead. You go.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's in his backyard. I mean, well, we have to give Taya some love real quick. I mean, come on. We can't just sit here and talk Derrick Lewis for 15 minutes. As much fun that is.
Yeah. So in Tai Tuivasa's last fight, what was the guy's name?
Augusto Sakai.
So in this fight, I think this fight got rescheduled. It was supposed to happen. I think Augusto got hurt, and comes back whatever months later when they fought. And
they actually fought the Oliveira Poirier card.
Yeah, it was recent.
Yeah.
It was recent.
So both these guys fought in December of 2021, now fighting again in February 2022.
Yeah. So in Tai Tuivasa, like I said, there's not really much to break down skill fighting style wise. Both of these guys fight the same way. You're not going to see any leg kicks or body kicks. You might see a couple from Tai Tuivasa, but you're going to see absolutely zero from Derrick Lewis. You're going to really see a lot of pressure from Lewis. I think that he's going to try to get Tuivasa up against the cage and try to land that one big right uppercut. That's where all his power comes from.
I have a question.
What's up?
Does Junior Dos Santos still fight?
I believe so.
Because I'm just noticing that both Derrick Lewis and Taya Tuivasa
knocked him out.
Got knocked out.
Oh, got knocked out by
Junior Dos Santos. They were both. This one was 2018. I also want to say Derrick Lewis was 2018. Let me check that.
Bear with us.
Oh, 2019.
2019. So this is kind of recent.
I think this might have been back-to-back fights for Junior Dos Santos, where he fought Taya and then he fought Derrick. Because this was March 2019.
And then Tuivasa was what, May?
December 2018.
December, okay.
And the other thing about Taya is that his only 3 losses were in succession. So he had 10 straight wins.
Okay.
Lost 3, started with Dos Santos, and then he's now won 4 in a row. Or I guess 9 straight wins.
9 straight wins. The thing that I really, as a wrestler, I come into the mentality of, if you're coming off a loss, you have a lot that you need to get off your chest and prove. You know what I mean? Derrick Lewis. And I know that some people, if you pay attention to UFC, Derrick Lewis, he got TKO'd by Cyril Gane in Houston, Texas. That didn't sit well with Derrick Lewis. Not at all. So I think with him coming back, I think there's going to be a major emphasis on, I need to get this knockout win. I need to go in there and I need to throw the kitchen sink and get this guy out of here within 3 rounds.
I mean, that's going to be hard. It's because Taya Tuivasa, since his last loss, which is submission by arm triangle, he's only been in the second round once, and it was for 26 seconds.
Yeah, and that was his last fight with Augusto.
Yeah. Every other fight was a TKO
first round,
round 1 knockout.
So the biggest thing with dude, we really might see a first round knockout.
Yeah,
we really might.
I'm gonna say right now, it's gonna be round 1 knockout. Who is it gonna be by? I hope Derrick Lewis.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Derrick Lewis too, and the only reason why I'm rooting for Derrick Lewis is because it's just in his hometown, man. I want to see a guy win in his hometown. You got all the fans cheering for you, and it just brings the mood up when the hometown guy wins. You know what I mean? This is the co-main event. Derrick Lewis winning, bringing the crowds into the Israel Adesanya fight with Robert Whittaker. Like, you can't get no better than that. But I mean, we also could see Tai Tuivasa with a knockout and hopping up on top of the cage doing a shoey with the Nelk boys. You know what I mean? We could see.
I mean, if Taya gets this knockout, Derrick Lewis is losing his second match in Houston. Taya could propel himself to top 5.
Yeah,
and
you said this is what, number 4 versus number 11?
Number 3 versus number 11.
Number 3 versus number 11.
So this could propel him, I think, honestly, to the number 6 position.
Yeah, I think that's a happy medium for him.
Put Derrick Lewis at 7.
Yeah.
Him at 6. I meงNgannou's gone, so 5 and 6.
Yeah. And the thing with this division is John Jones is the question mark.
Yeah.
Where is John Jones? We've heard a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter. We've heard a whole bunch of stuff on Instagram. We see you lifting all these weights and we see you getting all big and strong, but where is the ring work? Where is the I'm fighting on XYZ date? I'm fighting X, Y, and Z. Like, that's kind of what I'm waiting for.
And who is he going to fight?
In my personal opinion, I mean, I know the rankings. It makes no sense to put John Jones against anybody else besides Stipe Miocic. He needs to fight Stipe. John Jones is considered what? The GOAT of UFC. So why put him into the heavyweight division versus, and I'm just going to use Tuivasa as an example, fighting a number 11 guy, or coming in and fighting Derrick Lewis, who was a number 3 guy. John Jones, with the exception, should be coming in and fighting champ or number 1.
See, I was going to say he should be not number 11 a guy, but maybe like a number 6, number 5 guy.
It's just hard because John Jones in his name. And as a hard UFC fan, I can't see him coming in and fighting a number 6. Like, it's just not going to buy pay-per-views. Everybody wants to see John Jones with the belt, see if he can move up a weight and keep what he's doing at what he did at light heavyweight.
With the vacant heavyweight belt, it makes it more interesting. I'll give you that.
It does.
And before we go, because we're running out of time here, we got to give our final predictions.
I'm going to make it short and sweet. I'm going first round knockout, Tai Tuivasa.
I'm going first round knockout, Derrick Lewis.
Yep.
And of course, with that, we are going to be taking a short break. When we come back, we will be talking about some top 25 matchups in college basketball. This is the Letterman here on 90.7 WCLH. Keep it locked.
This is Chris Gord, host of Hit the Vibe.
And welcome back to the Letterman here on 90.7 WCLH. Jason, how's your Wednesday going?
It's pretty good. I like the weather today. It's a
Yes.
little warmer than it has been in Wilkes-Barre. So I'm rocking Birkenstocks right now. The camera can't see it, but I got the Jesus sandals on. So
I think it's been a staple of mine this semester. And if anyone wants to help me out here. The Adidas slides.
Yes, iconic.
Last Tuesday, I wore jeans with Adidas slides.
I mean, that's style right there.
Listen, it's a fashion statement. Call me Pete Davidson. But I'm not going to get called that by Kanye. Anyway, we're here to talk about some top 25 matchups of the week. Of course, let's just get into it.
All right. I mean, first game is tonight. You have number 6 Houston traveling to SMU.
The American Conference.
Yes.
Which I just want to point out, we all thought, or at least I thought, Memphis, when they got Amani Bates, they were going to be the favorite.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I know, well, they've had injuries and all that, so they haven't really been keeping up with par. But Houston, 12-game win streak, they're kind of dealing right now. They're playing really good basketball. SMU took a tough loss this past Saturday, but before that, they were on a 6-game win streak. So I don't think that loss is going to be too affected, especially since the 6-game win streak SMU had. 5 of those games were on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then even their last loss, it was on the road. So 6 of their last 7 games have been on the road. So first matchup against Houston of the season.
Yeah, and they're home tonight, which is big. Like, they've gotten all their road games out of the way, like battle-tested team, and now you got the number 6 team coming in. And these have arguably, maybe not even arguably, been the best 2 teams in the American all year long. So it's going to be a great matchup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, both are top 3 in scoring. Houston, number 1 at 76.9. SMU, 75.1 points per game. That's number 3 for the conference. I want to say Tulsa's number 2.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
No,
But-
because they're bad. Tulsa's bad.
Yeah.
They're 1-10 in conference right now.
I don't think it's Tulsa then. I forgot looking at the stats.
Tulane. Was it Tulane? They've been sneaky good this year.
Yeah, it is Tulane, actually. Why are they good?
I don't know. I was watching their game against Memphis earlier this year, and they smoked Memphis, like, somehow. I mean, they're 3rd in the conference right now. They're just a game behind SMU, 3 games behind Houston, so Tulane's been sneaky good. The American's been sneaky good.
I always said that too, especially when UConn was in the American. I was like, look, this isn't the Big East,
Yeah.
but this isn't like the West Coast Conference.
At Gonzaga.
Just saying. Listen, Gonzaga, if they want to be respected as a basketball program, go to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
It's
That's
that
all you have to
simple.
do.
But you know what? They want to go through easy competition, and then they want to lose in the Final Four. So have fun with that, Zags fans. Anyway. Listen, coming from 2 true basketball schools right here in Duke and UConn, that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Get to a true conference.
So going back to this Houston SMU game, who is your player to watch on SMU that has to have a big game to upset this Cougars team?
Listen, I'm looking at Kendrick Davis. Leads the American in points per game at 19.5. Leads the American, or he's 3rd in the American assists at 4.7 assists per game. Sophomore guard, I think he's going to be a very key contributor to this win or to this game that they're about to play. Houston is a tough opponent. I mean, they're only allowing 56.6 points per game. So
I mean, like, that's actually super impressive.
yeah, very. Oh,
Yeah, like, that's got to be top 10 in the country.
it probably is.
Yeah.
It honestly is, because all the other games that we looked at or that we're going to be looking at, I don't think anyone even scratches 63 points. So Houston is playing some pretty impressive basketball these last couple of years. I mean, last year, what they go, Elite 8?
I think they were the Final Four and then lost to Baylor
Yeah, and that's what
because
it
they
was.
played Oregon State in the Elite 8 and then smoked them. And then Houston's a Final Four team, and people still seem to sleep on them even though they have a lot of people back.
Listen, Houston, they're a basketball program. Come on, Gonzaga. I mean, granted, they haven't really done anything in the 2000s, but if we're talking 80s and 90s college basketball, you can't forget Houston.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson, Hakeem, many of other fantastic players come from this program. And I definitely think this program has been built back up. I mean, they've the last, I think, 3 years, they've been a top 10 program consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it comes down to their conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, their conference is improved than the WCC, but it's still not ACC, SEC, even Big East basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting because Houston does this every year. They have a great record going in the tournament. Their defense is always good. They just do all the little things that good teams do. They're gritty on the boards. Like I mentioned, good defense, pass the ball, they're team players. So, I mean, they were a Final Four team last year. Maybe a little deeper than most people thought, but, I mean, Houston has showed, like, they have potential to go all the way.
And
I don't know if they will, but they have potential.
and they're an old team.
Mhm.
They're always going to throw an old lineup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that being said, though, what's your prediction for this game?
I think SMU keeps it close for a little bit. Home game, fans are going to be riled up, but Houston's too good. They're too talented, too deep. I have Houston by like probably 10 to 15.
So, this is going to be my major upset of the week.
I like it.
I have to roll with SMU. I think Kendrick Davis has himself a day.
Mm-hmm.
I think he goes off 20-plus points, at least 7 assists. He is going to be the benefactor to SMU winning this game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be low scoring.
Yeah.
I don't think either team scores more than 70. So
I agree.
SMU is going to pull a tough one out at home. It's going to be a great game to watch.
I'm excited. This
ESPN
is
too.
probably the best game on tonight.
Oh, well, yeah, no, it 100% is. I mean, I think Ole Miss is playing a ranked team, Oklahoma today, maybe.
Yeah.
Or something.
Mhm.
Oklahoma's playing, but this was 100% the most intriguing matchup.
Yeah. This is the game to watch in the Americans. So if you haven't seen any American games this year, this is one you want to check out.
Yes. Of course, moving on. I mean, what's a college basketball segment if we're not talking UConn?
The Huskies. Huge win last night.
Listen, I was so happy that I didn't tune in until after halftime. 46-36 at half. I'm like, okay, that we're back. We're fine. XL Center was bumping last night, and then I tuned in. I think like the 13-minute mark for the first 6 minutes of game time.
Yeah.
Marquette did not score.
Really?
Yeah. Granted, we didn't really score that much either, but they literally stayed at 52 points for those 6 minutes. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that all I needed was to tune in,
Mm-hmm.
and our defense steps up.
If you didn't watch the game last night, like the box score only showed like an 8-point UConn win, but UConn dominated that game.
Yeah,
For most of the time.
Sanogo,
Mm-hmm.
I think he had 23 points, 15 rebounds.
Yeah,
if I'm not
huge game.
mistaken, something like that. But I mean, his draft stock is just rising,
Yeah.
and it's going to continue rising because this game, number 24 UConn, traveling to Xavier, wherever they're from. They're from Pennsylvania, right?
I am not sure. I'm gonna look it up quick.
Okay. But I mean, UConn, we already mentioned they bounced back after that tough week they had last week against Creighton and Villanova. Just looked terrible against Nova. I don't know what we were doing against Creighton. Xavier, they're not having a good stretch either.
Mm-mm.
They're 2 of 5 in their last 5 games, and they lost a terrible game against DePaul. I mean,
Yeah.
the box score does not do it justice.
Mhm.
It was just sloppy basketball, turnovers. Xavier looked horrible, and DePaul is one of the worst teams in the Big East. So,
Yeah.
like when I see DePaul on my schedule, I go, okay, yeah,
That's a win. That's a win.
Nice.
On to the next one.
Yep. So, I mean, what do you need to see out of Xavier?
Yeah, I just want to see a little more like fight. This team was really good early on in the year. They were getting quality wins at home. And I just think that grit they had early on in the year has kind of disappeared recently. And, I mean, they're still the 25th ranked team. They're ranked. But you just want to see a little more. And I want Paul Scruggs. He's the starting point guard for Xavier this year. And he usually comes up in the clutch. But they haven't been able to get to the clutch because they've been playing so bad. So I just want to see him have a big game. I think the guard play in this game will be unbelievable. I think maybe 2 of the top 5 guards in the Big East are going to be on display. So I just want to see a great matchup between the guards in this game.
Well, yes, R.J. Cole. I don't know who the other guard is for UConn. Listen, as much as Tyrese Martin has been playing good basketball recently, I can't forgive him for what he did with the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
I can't forgive him with what he did in the tournament last year. I mean, that was.
I think a bad Tyrese Martin game is coming soon.
Don't talk to me like that. Listen, and I'll say this right now. UConn's not losing the rest of the season.
Bold take right there.
That's not a bold take.
Do they have another game with Nova?
They have another game with Nova.
Another game with Marquette?
Versus Nova.
Do they go to Marquette at all?
I think we do go to Marquette in like a week. And we have a game against St. John's.
See, I think UConn is the most talented team in the Big East.
I think we are too. I don't.
It's just a matter of like executing.
Listen, I mean, I know we talked about the Arizona State game, which, by the way, I forgot to mention while we talked about that on Monday. You know who the coach is for Arizona State?
It's Hurley, right?
Yeah. Listen, it just runs in the family. Success. Arizona State's not having the best of seasons, but you know what? That upset win against UCLA, maybe we see the other Hurley later on in the tournament. Who knows? You know, just throwing it out there.
I can see it.
But yeah, no, I mean, UConn, if we play like we did last night,
Yeah.
I don't see us losing. I really don't. And yeah, I only saw the last, 15, 13 minutes, whatever you want to say. That was some of the best basketball I've seen all year. If we could play like that and how we played against Auburn, if we treat like we're playing Auburn every game,
Yeah.
which, by the way, huge upset last night.
Crazy.
That was insane. While I'm watching UConn, everyone else is watching Auburn get upset by Arkansas. Fayetteville. But we're going to be unstoppable if we can do that.
Yeah.
RJ Cole, Sanogo's going to get down in low post. He's going to have his 4 or 5 offensive rebounds. I mean,
So prediction.
oh, my prediction's pretty easy here. UConn by 1 million. Xavier cannot compete with us. I'm sorry. I don't care about their 25th ranking. I don't care about that. Xavier is on a downturn. They're gonna make the tournament just because they have the record or whatever.
Yeah.
But they can't compete with us.
I agree. I think Xavier, who is in Cincinnati, Ohio, by the way, I just found that out. They're pretty good at home, but the Huskies are just a way more talented team. I think that rough week they had last week kind of turned them on, flipped the switch a little bit, and I think UConn is ready to make their move. So I have UConn winning this game as well.
Moving on. Is this noon? The noon game on Saturday?
I think the next 2 games are both at noon on Saturday.
I know the Texas Baylor game's at noon. But Texas A&M traveling to Auburn, of course, coming off that tough loss that we just mentioned. They won 19 straight games?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So they lost to UConn.
Well, yeah, no, they start off the year 1-0, lost to UConn.
And then have won 19 straight.
They're 20? No, they're 22-2.
20, or I think they were maybe 3-0 to start the year. And then lost to UConn, and then won 19, and then lost last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 3-0. They beat Morehead State and UL Monroe in South Florida before they played UConn.
They weren't ready for UConn. That's all I'm
Nope.
saying. Texas A&M, though. I can't believe they were 15-2
Yeah.
just a couple weeks ago.
I mean, they were ranked, I think, a couple weeks ago. 24, 25.
They were probably, I think the highest I saw was 18th.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were looking to have a great season, like fantastic for Texas A&M standards, and now they're on a 7-game losing streak. Currently projected as an NIT team, but playing the number 1 team, if you can go on the road and beat them, like your stock just shoots up, and you could see them back on the bubble as like a next 4 out next week.
So who's the impact player for Texas A&M for them to beat number 1 Auburn here?
So I want to say Henry Coleman. He is the forward. He's a transfer from Duke, so he'll always have a special place in my heart. But you got to go with their starting guard, sophomore Quentin Jackson. He does a little bit of it all for Texas A&M, 13 points, 3 rebounds, and he guards the opposing best guard on every single team and just picks them up 94 feet. And he's averaging a steal and a half a game, and he's pretty good at that. So I think That's the key player. If he has a big game, he gets going offensively and defensively, it can carry Texas A&M and keep this one close.
And speaking of defense, Texas A&M causes the most turnovers in the SEC. So if they want to win this game, you got to cause turnovers on the offensive half court.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I haven't seen many colleges do it this season, but going full court defense. There's only one team that really did it, and that was against UConn. I forget. It was early on in the season. I honestly forgot what team it was because we beat them by like 20. So it was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But if you could beat them in the offensive half court, I mean, gotta be honest, I haven't watched too many A&M games. I don't plan on watching A&M games, but I mean, they're facing Auburn, so see what they can do.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Texas A&M. I think we're going to make it 8 straight losses for you guys. I think Auburn bounces back. Took the L last night. Only beat Georgia by 2 last weekend. I think Auburn comes out and demolishes them at home.
Yeah, I mean, the guard play by Katie Johnson and Wesley Johnson?
Wendell Green.
My bad. That's going to be too much for Texas A&M to handle. I think both of them can combine for 30 points.
Yeah.
So, Auburn by a landslide.
Yeah.
Especially in Auburn. Yeah, no. Sorry. Moving on, the other 12 o'clock game, Texas, number 20 Texas, traveling to number 10 Baylor. Texas, they beat Kansas earlier this week.
Yeah, big win at home.
Huge win. And that's 5 of their last 6. Is that 5 of their last 6? No.
Yeah. Won 5 out of 6.
3 are against ranked teams. Okay,
Yes.
So Texas looking to continue this hot streak that's going in. And if Texas beats Baylor, they instantly get shot up to, are they in like the top 3 seed, 2 seed range?
I think so. I mean, their quality of wins is super high. And that would be 2 top 10 wins back to back. And I mean, like, ranked wins mean a lot in college basketball.
I mean, the Kansas, who's always in contention for the national championship, and then Baylor, the reigning national championship in back-to-back games. I think that will pretty much lock them up unless they literally lose out the rest of the season. I think that locks them up for the bracket.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Texas, coming into the year, they had the number 1, transfer class. They had 7 different transfers. I mean, they got Marcus Carr from Minnesota, Christian Bishop from Creighton, Trey Mitchell, who was the number 1 big in the transfer class. He's from UMass. And they just haven't been able to really put it together. But I think playing a bunch of games now, their chemistry's starting to click. And they're a super dangerous team. Like, you don't want to see Texas because they're very experienced.
No. I mean, looking at the players to watch here, LJ Cryer, I know we talked about him last week. He's going to be another force to reckon with. He's averaging 13.9 points per game. Going over to Texas, Timmy Allen, 11.8 points per game. Again, another guard. I mean, you said it best there. It's a leader or win by committee.
Yeah.
Where we don't really care who's putting the points up as long as points are going in. Baylor's the best in the conference at doing that. Second in the conference at doing that, 77.9. Texas, 69.7 points per game, but their defense does make up for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they are 20th ranked for a reason.
I mean, what do you expect out of this game?
I mean, I expect just a Big 12 powerhouse matchup. Texas, Baylor. Texas is looking for that relevancy. And honestly, I think Texas upsets Baylor.
Really?
Yeah. I think Texas can walk into Baylor in hostile environment. This is going to be, an intense game for them. But with the way they've been playing lately, I think they pull it off. I'm going to predict overtime. I'm out here throwing out big, bold takes today.
I love it.
Let's have some fun. It's college basketball. It's college sports. Anything could happen, except Alabama being in the top 4 every year for football. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, that's a lock. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, give me Texas over Baylor. I think Timmy Allen and crew, they're gonna have a perfect defensive game plan for Baylor. I really do. I don't think Baylor like as much as Baylor is going to play a good game, I think when it comes down to it, Texas is just going to have that momentum. They're going to have that grit. They just coming off of Kansas. They have the momentum. They got it.
Yeah, I like it. I think Texas can easily pull this upset off. I mean, they're super talented, and I think if one team can go into Baylor and beat them, it would be the Longhorns. But I don't see Baylor losing at home, especially coming off some losses, some big-time losses, getting blown out at Alabama, getting blown out at Kansas. I think they're going to be fired up, ready to go. And I think it'll be a close one. I expect some free throw shooting to be the difference in this. And I think Baylor kind of pulls away at the end, 8 to 10 points.
Oh, okay. Moving on. Big Ten matchup now. Indiana versus Michigan State. Number 17 Michigan State. Now, I got to be honest, looking through the schedule, there wasn't that many good games.
Yeah.
And
this is a down week in college basketball.
It is a down week. Last week, we were presented with so many good games.
Had like 4 top 10 matchups.
The reason why I wanted to talk this game is because Indiana, throughout these years, for some reason, Indiana just has that, okay, we're going to upset you factor.
Yeah. Every year they seem to come up with a big one.
They haven't had, or have they had the one this
They
year?
beat Purdue at home.
They did beat Purdue.
Yeah, so they have a top 5 win already.
So, I mean, they're used to winning in tough environments.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they were home, but against tough teams. In Michigan State, they're a tough team. I mean, UConn's already felt their wrath.
Yeah.
Tyrese Martin felt their wrath. Let me change that real quick. But Michigan State, they're also coming off 2 straight losses.
Mm-hmm.
So this is no easy task for Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State is my roommate's favorite team, so I hear a lot about them. And I know Tom Izzo is none too pleased to be coming off of 2 straight losses.
Let me tell you something about Michigan State. Remember the year they lost in Mid-Tennessee?
Yeah.
Guess who picked them to win that year?
You.
Yeah, I did. And since then, I have been just the most unrational hater on Michigan State just because of that game.
Middle Tennessee State.
I don't know. I'm literally watching that and just like crumbling.
That's Denzel Valentine's fault.
Oh, I don't want to get started on him. His career has just not turned out to what it could have been.
No.
Granted, Chicago didn't really help him. But anyway, we're talking. What are some of the key players we're looking at here in the Indiana-Michigan State matchup?
I feel like every Big Ten game we talk about, we're always talking about the big men. Every Big Ten team has a dominant big, and that's no different with these teams. Trace Jackson-Davis, he might have been Big Ten Player of the Year last year. I'm not sure. He's definitely first team. Doing the same stuff this year. 17.
That was Luke Garza.
Yes, you're right. So Trace Jackson-Davis was first team last year. 17.5 a game, 8.5 rebounds, 2.6 blocks. And then Marcus Bingham's numbers for Michigan State don't jump off the page. But, 10 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 blocks a game, that's pretty solid for a big. And he shoots the ball, too. So as a stretch 5, that can cause some issues for Indiana. So I think this will be a really good matchup between 2 of the more athletic bigs in the Big Ten.
And I think Trace Jackson-Davis and his boys in Indiana can get the upset win. I'm all about the upsets.
You're all upsets today.
Listen, Michigan State leads the Big Ten in turnovers.
Yeah, that's hurt them a lot this year.
Indiana creates a lot of turnovers. This is just a bad matchup plus a bad stretch of games for Michigan State, and I think Indiana pounces on this, and they get the win. They get the surprise win in Lansing. Is it Lansing?
Yeah, East Lansing.
Okay. Well,
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. I don't agree with you on this one. And this is for my boy. This is my boy Joey. I know you're listening out there. But I have Michigan State winning this one. I don't see them losing 2 straight games at home. Indiana, going back to Bloomington with an L.
It's okay. Because we have one more matchup of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Number 12, UCLA, is traveling to Pasadena. Is that Pasadena?
I believe so.
Number 21, USC. That's the late game Saturday on ESPN.
Yeah.
UCLA, I mean, they're in a tough stretch right now.
Mm-hmm.
They did beat Stanford, but I mean, losing to the state of Arizona,
It's the Hurley.
it's the Hurley factor.
Yes.
USC, though, they are coming off a not so impressive win against Pacific.
Yeah. I think
70
Pacific is from the West Coast Conference, and they were losing by double digits most of that game.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's pathetic. But, I mean, both of these teams were having super successful years. Both of them have been ranked in the top 5 for multiple weeks this year. So I wish this was a top 5 matchup. It's not. Both of them are struggling. But what do you expect to see out of this game?
I mean, I expect to see Juzang, Campbell, and crew, they just get back into the flow like early season. I mean, they've had a rough couple 2-3 weeks, but I think they're all back. They're all healthy now, and just you gotta start playing UCLA basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know what's been going on, but I think they got back to it with the Stanford win. I think Juzang, he really takes control of this team, especially coming closer and closer to the Pac-12 championship every day, every hour. So Juzang is definitely going to be the leader of this team going forward. And if they want to make another Final Four run, he's going to be the benefactor of that.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna have to carry. I mean, he has a good supporting cast, but I expect a big Juzang game. Sorry, and I don't know. I'm very unimpressed with USC. They've not been good at all. The Pacific win is not impressive.
I do agree with you, and I highlighted it because I like when you put your little predictions in.
Yeah. I expect the UCLA blowout.
I agree. USC does not impress me. They, especially that Pacific win. I mean, double digits.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think Juzang and crew, they're going to get back to UCLA brand basketball.
Yeah. It's time for them to go on a little run, just like the Huskies.
Hey, listen, UCLA Huskies, that would be a fun matchup in the tournament.
Yeah.
Of course, when we come back, we will be talking about the NFL Coaching Carousel in the NFL. This is the Letterman here at 90.7 WCLH. Keep it locked. Welcome back to the Letterman here on 90.7 WCLH. Zara, Zach, how are we doing today? This lovely Wednesday.
We're doing good.
It's all right. It's going through. I don't know if it's lovely, but, it's a Wednesday. We're getting there.
What is that supposed
At
to
least
be,
the
Zach?
weather's nice.
That's what I'm saying.
Nah, it's nice.
It's
It is
short
nice
sleeve
weather.
weather. It's too hot out there. This
And
is
it's
beach weather.
Jag shirt.
Yo, is it really coming out the shirt right now?
Yeah.
Come on, I had to represent.
Let's just get into the segment. Jesus.
There was only one cat team in the Super Bowl right now.
Screw that cat team. Screw that cat team.
Anyway,
That cat team is great.
No,
anyway, we're here today to talk about some coaches, and not just any coaches,
the new ones.
the new ones of 2022, the 2022 class of head coaches.
The weirdest class of coaches I think I've seen in my life.
A very controversial class, if I have to say the least.
Yeah.
And everything, we'll just get into it. Starting with the Chicago Bears. We're going in alphabetical order. Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus. What a joke. That's all I got to say. What do you guys think?
I think it was honestly a good hire. It's a safe hire. I feel this hire is going to be contingent on what OC or what quarterback coach they can bring in, just because Justin Fields is so much of that organization. I don't think the defensive coordinator bringing in was a bad idea, especially when Eberflus, who's held the Colts defense to such a high standard for the last couple of years. I think you're going to see Roquan Smith play out of his mind with him there. I just think this hire is going to become very contingent on whatever OC/quarterback coach they bring in.
They already brought in their offensive coordinator. It was Packers quarterback coach Lou Getsy.
Okay,
And
I think that's a good hire.
See, this is where I'm concerned because, well, I'm actually happy with this hire. Like,
As a Packers fan.
yes, because the Bears, they need to develop Justin Fields. Their defense is not the problem. They have a pretty good defense. So why do they get? Yeah, literally that. I agree. I agree with that because
See, I don't.
hold on.
So
let me explain why I agree.
Well, for people for reference, we're using the SB Nation article where they have an alphabetical order. They graded Matt Eberflus D.
Okay, they need to develop Justin Fields so they don't want another Mitch Trubisky situation. They have good weapons on the offense. They need a line, yes, but they still can they still can develop this offense with the right coach. And you see and I think that Luke Getsy, while yes, he was on the Packers and Packers had a good offense, it's Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers has done this with any quarterback coach. I know Rodgers specifically likes Luke Getsy, but he's done this with any quarterback coach. So you're going to take the Packers quarterback coach, the Vikings quarterback coach, and then the Colts defense coordinator, who, yes, was great on defense, but the defense isn't the issue.
And I just need to point out, Eberflus, playoff life on the line against the worst team
Literally.
in football.
Yeah.
I'm loving this hire.
Against
I'm loving it.
I'm sorry.
I think that was also more of a constellation of the offense, whereas, like, look at Carson Wentz that game.
I mean, they still have Jonathan Taylor.
I'm about to say, they still have Jonathan Taylor. Well, he
still got
didn't
Michael
coach the offense
Pittman.
in that game at all.
Well, here's the thing, too.
He could have taken over.
Our offense
Really?
Our offense consistently drove on the Colts defense.
You did, yes.
And the Colts
Colts-
defense is good. That's the crazy part about it.
4 Pro Bowlers
Yeah.
on that defense. 4, was it 3 or 4?
No, it was Kenny Moore, Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner. Who's the last one?
Must have been 3 then.
I feel
It
like
must
there
have
was.
been.
I feel like there was 4
Name
though.
the other 3. It's Darius Leonard,
Kenny Moore,
Kenny Moore.
More.
Buckner.
Buckner. And then it was on the offensive side, it was
Oh,
Nelson.
Taylor.
I thought we were talking about defense.
Well, yeah, just Nelson.
the Colts had the
Kelly,
most Pro Bowl selections this
Yeah,
year. They did.
Taylor, Nelson, and Smith. So maybe it was 3.
Braden Smith, yeah.
I think that might be a 4th one. We're
But
forgetting.
Braden
Kelly?
Smith, I'm pretty sure he was.
I think they had, like-
he was a reserve though. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Anyway,
Whatever. We're getting off
I
topic.
just think this is. I don't know what this hire was, and I laughed. Of course, it was Chicago.
I loved it. Like I said, they got rid of Ryan and Matt. They hired Ryan and Matt.
So
It's not the worst hire this cycle. I'll say.
No,
that.
it's the worst hire. It
not.
literally is.
No.
no, because the worst
No.
hire is the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, Nathaniel
He
Hackett.
is so against Nathaniel Hackett. He is
Nathaniel
so
Hackett's
against Nathaniel
not-
Hackett.
I'm against Nathaniel
Is a
Hackett.
product of literally coaching with Matt LaFleur.
Okay,
Yeah.
And having
wasn't
Aaron Rodgers.
Hackett on the 2017 Jags team?
He was with the Jags for 5 years.
Okay, and he was on the 2017 Jags team.
He was, which was led by Leonard Fournette. Yes, Blake Bortles,
but
had
also his
best year.
offense.
Okay, when
So why do you hate
the
Nathaniel?
offense is hand the ball to Leonard Fournette 300 times a game. it's
Okay,
not
Blake
that bad.
Bortles, didn't he make the Pro Bowl that year?
No,
I thought he did.
No, he just
when you
didn't
throw
suck.
3 pick sixes, you don't make a Pro Bowl. He threw 2 in one game.
Have you seen the Pro Bowl quarterbacks this year?
I did not watch the Pro Bowl.
Kyler Murray.
No, I didn't watch it either. But you got Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Kirk Cousins.
Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray were pretty brutal down the stretch.
Same with Kirk Cousins.
Well, Russell Wilson was injured. That's my excuse for him.
Kyler Murray,
Kirk Cousins.
Kyle Murray is a product of Cliff Kingsbury.
shut up. Shut up.
Well, as in
Cliff
Speaking-
Kingsbury is a
Flavor
product of
artist.
Kyler
Speaking
Murray.
of Kyler Murray, did you see how he just unfollowed the Cardinals
talk
on
about that next
everything?
week.
well, yeah, we're
We're gonna talk about that Friday.
It's nothing to talk about. He just wants an
Yeah.
extension.
We'll talk about that in the next coming weeks. I mean, I don't think it's anything. Like
It's
you said,
nothing. He just wants
so.
an extension.
Going to Nathaniel Hackett, though. I mean, this is a joke. This
It's
is
a
just,
to be continued
this,
hire.
yeah, this is if you get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams,
It's an A.
fantastic. Good job. You did your job.
But if you fail and do that, it's the worst hire.
Then you have Drew Lock and Cortland Sutton, which I like Cortland Sutton, but he's no Devontae.
But Drew Lock.
Did you forget about Jerry Judy?
I did.
Jay Judy was hurt this year. That was the problem.
He also has Javonte Williams on that team. They're still a pretty good
But
offense.
this team's going to go as far as that quarterback will take them. And if
I
it's Drew
agree.
Lock-
They should go for quarterback in the draft.
mean-
I thought they should have gotten Justin Fields
Listen,
last.
Hackett could surprise me. He really could.
I'm going to
but
be honest.
for
I've been
what?
watching. I know you've been watching Hackett, but I've also been watching Hackett. And while yes, he didn't really run the plays there, the play design that he did when he came in was, I know it was also LaFleur, but obviously he had some input in that. And the play design that he came up with, it was great. I'm not saying this hire is amazing, but I'm also not saying it's the worst. Bears is the worst hire in my opinion, and Nathaniel Hackett, I think he could do some great things with the Broncos, even if they don't get Rodgers.
I think Nathaniel Hackett's just please come, Aaron.
Well, yes, they did that, but they also could have an added benefit of him
which
being
is
good.
which is a joke.
I don't think this is an added benefit, though. I haven't seen Nathaniel Hackett call plays in a while.
I understand.
I need to see him call
Have you
plays.
seen the pack?
He hasn't called plays at all.
He hasn't. But that's the thing. I
Even in
agree.
Jacksonville,
I
he didn't
agree
call
with the
plays.
calling plays. That is an issue. But like I said, the play design that he and Matt LaFleur come up with is pretty crazy. Last year, not the season that just happened. Last year, they were the number one scoring offense. But yes, they had, even with Rod, like it's the same team this year, basically, besides
I just
Jamal
need
Williams.
to see, because if it's anything like Zach Taylor first couple years, he's not going to last that long.
Zach Taylor lasted, he's in a Super Bowl.
He's lasted now, but I thought everyone and their mom thought he was going to get
That
fired
roster
before
was
this year.
awful. The quarterback, Burrow, again, was the most sacked quarterback this year. Did you know that?
He was. No, yeah, I know he was. That's a testament to how good Burrow is.
54 times Burrow is sacked.
That's a testament to how
Burrow's
good
just
Joe
a dog.
Burrow is.
I understand, but I'm saying that how are you gonna put any of that on Zach Taylor when it was his roster?
'Cause I'm still looking at the first 2 years, and not all. There were still very questionable play calls that we had there. I will say a coach can improve, and Zach Taylor has improved a lot. But I would look at those first 2 years. Everyone, their mom was calling for his head. And I was on the head of that.
Their three best players was a 30-something-year-old Geno Watkins. I think
Washed.
AJ Green was also 30-something.
Yeah, AJ Green
and
was
then you have
definitely
Joe
old.
Mixon, who didn't even break out yet. That was their three best players.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing to Houston.
Okay.
They hired Lovie Smith.
It's an optics hire.
Yeah.
It's an optics hire.
Yeah.
That's a deserving grade of F. It's an optics hire.
This is pathetic. I'm sorry. Like,
At that point, keep David Culley.
No, I thought they should have.
David
kept
Coley had no reason to be fired.
No.
I didn't understand the firing of David Coley. And the thing is, I remember I was reading a bunch of Instagram comments when I saw Lovie Smith hire, and boy, people, they were saying, "Oh, Lovie, this is a great hire. He could have brought the Bears. He could have had 2 Super Bowls if Jay Cutler didn't get hurt or something like that." I'm like, I don't know about that, but
You know who could have been a fantastic hire for them?
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores
Eric Bieniemy.
or yes,
Eric Bieniemy.
those two easily. So why hire Lovie Smith?
I will have to say, Brian Flores' statement on not being hired by the Texans was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Just being like, well, because of my investigation,
No, that is
you
really
guys didn't
funny.
want to hire me. I was like,
Because
yeah.
he's like mad that
My
that's
issue with the
pretty
Texans
funny.
is...
Which, to be fair,
It's
I kind of-
understandable. I can also see how that is the case, but also we already knew Flores kind of destroyed his career.
My issue with the Lovie Smith hire, is that they weren't really involved in the whole Flores case. Flores said a statement that they're not going to hire him, but they weren't involved. They didn't have to go out.
I thought Flores was the perfect candidate for the Texans. Deshaun Watson.
They coulda hired
he
him.
He loves Flores. Like, he wanted to be a Flores.
I'm about to say they could have hired him. They could have went out and got another good candidate, not hired in-house again
Now,
and dealt with futility.
see, the thing is, I
Texans
think
suck.
if Flores didn't put that lawsuit out, they might have hired Josh
Yeah.
McCown. They might have hired Josh McCown.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
If Josh McCown, it's not the absolute worst hire because they hired Josh McCown.
I don't know what the Texans might, after this season or after the draft and free agency, might still have the worst roster in the NFL.
They have the worst front office
I
in
mean-
the NFL by a mile.
You're not gonna get me started.
By a country mile.
Have you heard of the Green Bay Packers and their really dumb decisions in the past
Oh,
Shut
4
up.
years?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We
I'm still going to go to playoffs every year.
We go
Shut up.
13-4, but we have the
Shut
worst
up.
front office.
Shut up.
Moving
No.
on to the worst front office in the league, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nah.
They didn't actually mess
Wait.
this one up this time.
You know what?
They didn't mess this one up.
Huh?
Never mind.
Well, I didn't.
He had to rep his shirt today.
No, I get that, but I didn't know we were done with the
got-
Texans.
Oh yeah, no.
There's
we're
not
done.
much else to say.
What
You
is
have
it-
anything
what
else
else
to
is there
say?
to say?
I mean, I had
Texans
something, but I
suck.
kind of forgot it.
Texans suck. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Moving on though, Dougie P, Ice Cream Man. Let's go get some ice
Oh,
cream.
You're down to say Dougie P now.
I know what I was going to say. It wasn't kind of related to that, but we kind of mentioned Brian Flores. Brian Flores would have been a perfect candidate for most of these teams. And that's the crazy part about it is
Almost every single team
Bears,
except for
Vikings, if either of them got him, their team, I think if the Vikings would have gotten Brian Flores, they would have easily been the top team in the NFC North next year.
I think the only two teams that may have a reason to not hire him are the Bears, just because Justin
Why would
Fields.
the Bears
Just because of the same reason with Justin Fields.
Okay,
but they didn't
then
listen
they
to that
hire
anyway.
Matt Eberflus.
That's what I'm saying. But they didn't listen to that anyway. And then maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I like.
Okay,
the
but all I'm
We
saying.
didn't need a defensive coordinator. And
Okay.
after my anger with Shad Khan, took a couple days. I like the Dougie P hire. It's Super
I'm about
Bowl.
to say. I remember we texted you the night that it happened,
Yeah.
and you were
Listen,
angry. You did not
listen,
respond to us.
It's just what could have been. But I got
Hold
over
up.
it. Byron Leftwich. Well, we don't know where he's going to be next year.
Tampa.
He has a new. Oh no, that's Eric Bieniemy. I'm sorry.
He's gonna be in Tampa.
Well, yeah, Byron Leftwich will be in Tampa. Eric Bieniemy may not be in Kansas City.
Why not?
He has a new contract,
Ooh.
or he doesn't have a contract right now.
So all I hear is that Baltimore can go sign a new offensive coordinator.
We're Jacksonville. Anyway,
No, shut up.
I like this hire.
It's a good hire.
I think he's saying the same stuff that Urban Meyer's saying, so it's kind of hard to say. Oh yeah, I'm getting excited. I'm going to be excited for this team after week 1 and see. Okay, is he actually like? I'm not doing the Urban Meyer thing again, where I get hyped for the coach and then they just completely flame out.
I think, Dougie P's a safe hire. Dougie P's a Super Bowl winning coach. You want to put as many asterisks around that as you want, but he did win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles at that. But you're seeing our text messages when Dougie P got hired now.
Bartel lost it.
Yeah,
He straight up lost it.
We sent the Twitter announcement, and then we just sent like Dougie P about 40 times in the group
lost
chat.
it.
I can't repeat what I texted. But,
Don't.
But just know that I was not a happy camper.
Well, you're happy now. You're wearing a Jag shirt. You got a grin on your face.
Let's be honest. I'm always wearing Jags gear.
You are. I was ready to go past the door and put a little sticky note that said "Jag suck" up again.
That would have hurt my feelings.
It'd have been funny. We could always point to that.
It's a good thing we don't have a camera pointing at that.
We're gonna get a camera pointing at that.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with SB Nation here. I think this is.
I should move it, but we won't right now.
I agree. This is
I mean-
a B+ hire. This was a good hire.
I think
It was.
I'm hoping it will help Trevor develop.
And our
I'm
new
hoping.
defense coordinator, I was telling Zach this last night,
You were.
is the inside linebackers coach from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which of course,
That's
Devin
great
White,
then.
Coach Devin White and Levante David the last couple of years. So I think that's a very fun hire.
I think you guys are trending in the
Shaq
right
Barrett,
direction.
Chandler Jones. So here's the thing.
I just said Shaq Barrett, and then you said
Chandler Jones.
What?
Where are you going with
We're
this?
talking about outside linebackers.
Where are you going
we're,
with
we're
this?
talking about linebackers.
I was-
Chandler Jones said in an interview back in New England, all
Was
those
he
years
in
ago.
used? Did he used to be in New England?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
he was in New England.
He was part of the 2014 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
team. Anyway, part of an interview, he said that he grew up a Jacksonville Jaguars fan and would love to play for the Jaguars. I think that's a perfect opportunity to go out and get our pass rushers alongside Josh Allen. Just saying.
If you
Anyway,
can get Chandler Jones,
listen,
good on y'all.
Chandler Jones is good enough,
if
but
this-
he's like 31 or 32.
Put him on a 3-year.
The same stuff
3
that we were
year?
saying last year is the same stuff we're saying this
2
year.
if you're
Most
generous.
Yeah.
you guys talking about contracts over there. Listen, the same stuff that we were saying about Jacksonville last year is the same we're going to say this year. New coach, young quarterback. Now we have the young quarterback. We still have the number 1 overall pick. Highest cap room. Let's see what we do.
I think you should look. I think this is not as flashy as last year, but it's much more substance than last year.
Yeah.
But on to the next.
Because
I
instead of bologna
Now-
sandwiches, we're eating ice cream. Anyway,
Now this one.
don't.
This
one's
one.
This one's funny. I love this. Las Vegas Raiders, come on now. When is the NFL gonna learn that you can't hire from the Bill Belichick tree? When
He's a
is
scumbag.
Okay,
He's
I
just a
wouldn't-
scumbag.
I wouldn't say that.
Did you remember what happened with the Colts?
Josh McDaniels? Yes. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Josh
I thought you were talking
McDaniels.
about Bill Belichick.
No. Josh
no.
McDaniels.
But do you remember what happened last time Josh McDaniels
What
was in the
Belichick?
AFC West? That's all I'm saying.
That's what that's my other example. Do you
listen.
remember what happened in Denver?
Listen, he gave up on Tim Tebow.
I mean, so
The
did
team
you.
gave up on him.
I gave up on him because he's a freaking tight end. Not because he was a quarterback. And that was 10 years. I don't know. Josh McDaniels, this is up there with the Bears hire. This is up there with the Broncos hire.
I say it's a worse hire than the Bears.
What is you're so against this Broncos hire?
I don't like Nathaniel Hackett.
Clearly,
The amount of times I can't say. Anyway,
How much of that is? How much of that was Blake Bortles and not Nathaniel Hackett?
listen. That was I have
How?
the
Yeah.
Blake
Why are you
Bortles-
blaming?
the Blake Bortles color rush jersey up? In
I
my
know
house
you
right
do.
now
I walked over to your
Okay,
house
wait,
yesterday
hold
and I
on.
saw it.
Nathaniel Hackett didn't call plays. Why are you blaming him?
because it's his fault. Actually, I think he did call plays. I'm honestly not too
He
sure.
did call plays because your coach was
Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley's not calling plays.
Yeah.
It was Gus
So it was
Bradley and then it
Nathaniel
was
Hackett.
Doug Marone,
So
if
yes,
I'm
yeah,
not correct.
there you go.
He was
Nathaniel
calling
Hackett.
plays.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Gus
Hack of a coach.
I remember
Josh
that.
McDaniels, terrible hire. I'm done with the Raiders. Moving on. Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. What are we thinking?
So I have a question. I need you to look this up real quick. Is Mike McDaniel
Yes.
minority?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was very passing when I saw his picture.
What?
When I say passing, I mean like white passing. That's what it means.
Okay.
I was very confused. I was watching CNN today, and it was like coaches of color in the league, and Mike McDaniel was on there. I'm like, what? I looked at a picture, and it was him next to Lovie Smith.
No, I have a couple questions for you after this show. But, but yes, Mike McDaniel.
I like this hire.
But it's not a bad hire.
No,
it's a really good
I
hire.
like this a lot.
It's a good hire.
This
but
was,
the
This,
problem-
this is the OC from
Yeah.
49ers, if I'm not mistaken.
And
Yeah.
we saw if he can do with Waddle what he did with Debo,
Ooh,
that would be dirty.
scary.
Or if another.
Do you know what Debo's calling the position? Wide back.
I kind of like it.
They should put
That's
wide
basically
back
what
on
it
the
is,
all-pro
though.
team.
That's basically what it is, though. It's
No, literally.
a guy who can play anywhere, any wide receiver position, but he can also run the ball 10 times a game.
I remember all the players that they tried doing this with. I remember DeAnthony Thomas, and they thought he can do this, but no, Debo can do this very
That's why I'm
effectively.
saying Jalen Waddle probably can't because he's not big enough. Debo Samuel was big
Yeah,
enough.
you got to be pretty solid.
I mean, but we'll see what he does with Waddle. I mean, Waddle is clearly our number one there. Like, he's clearly the slot guy. But also, I'm interested to see what they do with the run game because obviously we know it is Shanahan, but at the same time, it could also have been Mike McDaniel.
I mean, he learned from under him for 2 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he probably going to get a little bit of it. So, I think, honestly, I like the hire. I know I ragged on the Dolphins, or that was on the podcast.
Yeah.
earlier
Well,
in
It was
January.
on the
because
podcast.
none of us agreed with the Flores firing. None of us did. I don't think we still agree with it.
No one will
No.
unless
It's
unless they make the playoffs this year.
Even
No
then,
one's gonna agree
no,
with
because I'm pretty sure it was just that, like they were just upset
Well,
with Flores for one not throwing the games, and two the Tua and Fitzpatrick thing.
In a vacuum, when you don't look at Brian Flores, this is a great hire. But the problem is you have to look at Brian Flores with it, and it does taint it a little bit.
Yeah, I can say it's
What I
one of
really
the better hires, but it's not
see
because of the floor situation.
what I really like about it is it's an offensive mind.
Yeah.
I really like that.
They need that
because
for
they
Tua.
have a pretty good defense, and they're trying to develop Tua. An offensive mind is what they needed.
They need that for Tua. Now, if Tua comes out and is amazing, now I can't really say anything other
I
than the
like
fact that
Tua.
the
I
way they
don't know
fired
why
Brian Flores
people-
sucked.
Don't like Tua. Why
But-
did you do that?
There was an article that said the collapse of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
There's a whole bunch of YouTube
Oh,
videos
I
off
thought
of
you
that,
were
so-
flipping off Brian
I'm about to
Dable.
say.
no.
All right.
I was like, what did he do to you?
Minnesota.
Moving on to Minnesota. On here it says unofficial, but this is
It's official.
It's official. It will be official after the Super Bowl because Kevin O'Connell, the offense coordinator of the Rams, is the new Vikings head coach. I really like this too.
I don't trust it the same way I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett.
That is true. I don't trust it the same way I trust the Mike McDaniel hire.
I trust the Mike McDaniel hire.
I trust the Mike McDaniel hire.
If
don't
anything,
trust
Yeah,
I'll
but
trust
I
the
don't-
Mike McDaniel hire.
I like what I meant is I like the Mike McDaniel hire better than the Kevin O'Connell hire.
Clearly, Super
Yes.
Bowl Nation loves this hire because they have an A+.
But Super Bowl Nation, aren't they based in LA? They like anything that helps an LA team. I've noticed that.
I want to say they're West Coast.
See,
That's what I figured.
I mean, I have no. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know much about Kevin O'Connell. I really don't.
He's been the
but-
Rams OC since Goff's second year, third year.
Yeah.
He's been there for a while.
I also wanted to mention with Mike McDaniel.
So then that's kind of
Um,
questioning then.
Yeah, that's
He
why
didn't
I'm
do
saying.
anything with really. I mean, I
He
guess
didn't
besides
that's
like
why
the Super
I'm-
Bowl year, he didn't really do much with Goff.
And that's why I'm saying, like, him and Nathaniel Hackett, I want to grade as incomplete because I really don't know how much you
I
did
think
under those
I
two
really
coaches.
think
think the
we've kinda-
real reason why they're this good this year is literally just they're
Matthew
force- No,
Stafford.
they're also force feeding Cooper Kupp.
Well, I also want to say, well, Minnesota has a guy like Cooper Kupp,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
Jay Jettas.
I mean, he's been learning under Sean McVay for 4 or 5 years now. I mean, that's
Out of the Vikings,
and
I am
my-
praying he fails, but
and-
it's a good hire. It is a very
in my
good
opinion,
hire.
Sean McVay is the best offensive mind we have in the NFL right now.
Ooh.
My opinion.
That's fair. I respect it. He's definitely top 3, so I respect it.
Yeah. So, I think Kevin O'Connell.
Sure.
He could do well.
We're going to do a coaching
But-
ranking show on the show one day.
We will. Kevin O'Connell does not fix that defense. That's all I'm going to say.
No, God, no.
See, okay.
Maybe Marvin
Like I
Lewis.
said-
Bring him as like a DC. It's not a bad idea. Marvin
So-
Lewis's defenses are always good.
So moving on to the New Orleans Saints, and they
I'm
messed this.
disappointed.
Awful.
They messed this hire up.
Yeah,
Awful.
I don't know why they didn't get Brian Flores,
I don't know why they didn't get Brian Flores. Well, I kind of know why.
but no, they should have. It's the Saints. You think they care? They should have gotten Brian Flores
I don't know why they didn't get Bieniemy. And the same thing happened
or
with the
that.
Saints.
I keep forgetting Bieniemy's an option.
Because-
How come no one got Bieniemy?
The same thing that happened with the Giants.
He has
happened
to
with
be
the Saints.
something.
Because
There's-
Bieniemy got interviewed, and then not even 24 hours later, they hired Dennis Allen.
There's definitely something up with Bieniemy that is not.
That's what I'm
been
saying. There's
disclosed
something that's with
because
Bieniemy that none
the
of us
fact
know.
that 3 years in a row now he has had interviews and then gone back to the Chiefs 3 years in a row now.
And this year, he might not even go back.
Yeah, something is up that the media
There's
is not
something that we
disclosing.
don't know.
Yeah, there's something we definitely don't know.
Like a Wade Phillips situation going on here.
But Dennis Allen,
good
though.
coach.
Dennis Allen. I don't.
It's a bad hire.
I mean, he stopped Tom Brady. He shut him out for the first time since 2006.
But that's not what this that's
That's-
not what this team needs.
I guess that's all you could really say.
This team
about
needs a
him.
lot.
team needs
even I think this is going to be a 1 or 2 year hire. The Saints are in a rebuild.
Yeah, it
Eh,
sucks
this-
when you have Kamara there. You want to see him in a good team.
Well,
but yeah.
we don't know.
Who's gonna play quarterback?
Well, Kamara, we don't know.
Why would Kamara play quarterback?
I said who's gonna.
No. We don't know about
Oh,
Kamara.
I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know where Kamara's going. Yeah.
We don't know what. Yeah, we don't know if he's going to join Henry Ruggs or if he's going to be,
Trent Henry Ruggs.
I was reading the other day. They're saying it can be up to 5 years.
yeah.
So we have no idea.
So yeah,
Good
I
old
don't really
Vegas.
have anything else to say about the Saints hire. It was just kind of lackluster. Gotta be honest, pathetic.
It's bad.
I'm sorry, but it should have been Bieniemy or Flores.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Dennis Allen.
moving on to CS's New York Giants.
It's a good hire. It's just tainted by the court case.
Brian Dable, what do you got to say?
Fantastic pick for the organization. They really needed a.
No one can hear.
No one can hear you. Come to Martell's mic.
Come on here. Come on.
I think it was a fantastic pick for the organization. They definitely needed an offensive minded coach. That's just my opinion. I think it could have been Brian Flores or Dable. I feel like either one would have worked.
So what I think is
I
that
love
Brian
how
Dable is a good hire.
I like Brian Dable hire.
Brian Flores was a
Love
better
Brian Dable
hire.
hire.
Brian Flores was a way better hire.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Thinking about it from a non.
That just came out.
I don't. I know that noise was weird, but thinking from a non court case, take the court case completely out of it. I think this is a good hire, just because.
No, I agree with him. Offensive mind is the way to go here.
Well, offensive mind is the way to go, especially with who they brought in as
if
D
they're
coordinator.
if they're
Yeah,
trying to
but-
finally figure out Daniel Jones,
Yeah, but Brian Flores could have brought in Deshaun Watson.
No,
That is-
maybe that is
but that's
possible.
speculation.
But that's speculation. You rather take the guaranteed thing than speculate, especially when
So you're going to take a guaranteed guy who's going to throw 20 picks and 10 fumbles?
you don't know that.
Actually, we
With what
don't.
he's seen
Daniel
at
Jones-
coach, I don't know.
Daniel Jones did have a better season.
I mean,
this
hey, he got the best catch of the year.
He did,
For the Giants, he did.
but with the Giants, I think they brought in one of the best staff so far of this. Brought in this because Brian Daboll compounded with Wink Martindale is a great
No,
combination.
I genuinely like this Brian Dable hire.
Now all they have to do is
Maybe
keep
they can
that defense
finally.
together.
I want them to finally unleash Take One again because
If he doesn't leave,
I think he's gonna leave.
I don't think they.
I think they're tired.
Exercise his fifth.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
They did?
Okay, but
I
they
could
might-
understand not. So
I'm not sure. I didn't really.
No, they did it a year or two ago. I thought.
Well, no, it'd be this. No, yeah, it would be in a year
It would've
ago,
been
so
a
we would
year.
know. We would have
Well,
to know. Yeah,
They already did it.
they already did it.
I'm
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
sure
Well,
they
this
did
is his
it.
fifth
had it
year,
last
so this
year,
is
yeah.
his prove it deal. So let's
He
see
was
what happens.
2018, right?
Yeah, he was 2018.
Yeah,
it would have
I-
happened last year. So he was on his fifth year.
I remember now because I remember when all the fifth-year players got got like signed to it.
Yeah, because it was.
Because I
him,
remember it was
Nelson,
he
yeah.
actually got the fifth year, Jair got the fifth year, and then Leighton Vander Esch did not, which was very interesting to me at the time.
Now it makes more
Now,
sense.
it does make sense now, but they also didn't know they were running at Micah
Well,
Yeah.
we have
or cut Jalen Smith.
run
Yeah.
out of time, so I just want to get everyone's opinion real quick. Top 3 coaches of the coaching carousel.
Zara, you first.
Can you scroll up? Mike McDaniel is number 1. Brian Dable and then Kevin O'Connell.
In no particular order: Dayball, Peterson, McDaniel.
I would have to go McDaniel, Peterson, and O'Connell.
Fair.
O'Connell and Dable tied.
O'Connell is going to get the same grade as Hackett and incomplete until I see their game plans without great offensive minds behind them.
Fair enough. Well, that's all we have for the show today. Of course, tune in Friday for a 2-hour special. Of course, we're talking about UFC 271, continuing the main event. Going to continue talking about, we have an hour-long special of the NFL.
Ooh.
And we're going to talk about the NFL awards for the first half hour. And then, of course, the long-awaited Super Bowl preview. I'm so excited for this weekend.
That's going to hurt.
Huge weekend in sports. I mean, nothing else to say then. This is the Letterman here on 90.7 WCLH. Keep it locked.